So it has been a bit of a historic week for women's sport over here in Ireland, but unfortunately, certain things that did make the headlines are not as positive as other stories. So I brought Jess in today that has been covering the story in quite a lot of detail, in my opinion. And yeah, let's talk a little bit about it. It's going to be a short one, but I do think it's important for us to cover all the stories, even when they are a little bit negative. What do you think of everything that has happened so far, like since the clip went viral, basically?
I think maybe I'll just start off with giving a bit of background as to what happened. So for those who didn't see it, basically last year in March there was a Gymnast event hosted by Gymnastics Ireland, and you can see in the video that during the medal ceremony there's a line of girls waiting to receive their medals, and they're each getting their medals, and then the official skips the only black girl standing in that line. When I also watched it at first, I thought, okay, maybe there's not enough medals or something. Just watched on, and then you can clearly see she leaves at some point to get more medals, and she comes back and proceeds to hand each of the gymnasts a medal. And yeah, it really just broke my heart seeing this girl standing there looking very confused as to why she didn't receive a medal, but it appears we're receiving medals. And then, yeah, basically what's just happened from there on, the video resurfaced last week. I think now it's got about 8 million views or something. And yeah, it's basically just blown up, and a lot of people are labeling that incident as being racist, which I think is fair. And yeah, Gymnastics Ireland have released statements following that, saying that they have apologized to the family and everything. But yeah, the family is obviously very hurt. That little girl was really hurt. And yeah, they are taking more drastic measures going forward. So yeah, that's basically what happened. But yeah, I think racism in sport is something which is a very relevant issue. It still exists. Myself, I experienced it when I was in high school back in South Africa. I experienced a racist incident with a coach saying something to me, and in the moment I remember thinking, like, I didn't think at first, oh, this is racist or anything, but looking back now, I realized that was racist. I don't know why she said that to me. And when I thought about it again, I was really hurt by that, and it did affect me as an athlete as well, because then going forward, I remember I would sometimes have it in the back of my mind, like, oh my gosh, like, do they look at me differently because of the color of my skin? And I think that's something which people might not be aware of. So yeah,
I'd like to touch on that, like that last sentence you just said, people not being aware of this. And there is this thing that I think isn't powerful, like the storyline isn't powerful enough. Not being racist isn't gonna cut it anymore. You have to be, not you have to be, but it's about being anti-racist. It's about calling things out when you see them, especially as a white person. You just ignoring the situation because you're not racist is not good.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that, but like, I think seeing that clip was really difficult for me, just because I was kind of telling you this before off camera, but gymnastics would have been the first sport I ever did, and gymnastics would have been the first sport that I received a medal in. And it was a very similar situation. You line up horizontally or whatever, and all the medals are presented to like all these girls. And it's so clear in my head, being gifted that medal, having it being like around my neck, and just looking at my parents, and my parents just smiling, you know? To know that that girl was robbed off of that moment is heartbreaking. Yeah. To think that there are some people out there that wanted to brush this clip aside is even tougher.
Yeah.
Now, it's one of those things where I think the one question people have when they see that clip is, why did it happen? You know?
Yeah.
And I understand that like now it's just boiling down to that could potentially be it, you know?
Yeah.
Because we'll never know why. So yeah, anyways, it's a difficult one. So thankfully, in a way, I think if this clip didn't pick up and didn't go viral, I don't think this issue would have been addressed. And Simone Biles came into the picture.
Yeah. So Simone Biles, she reached out to the family herself, and she actually sent a personal message to that girl. And she also commented on the clip that was circulating on Twitter. She tweeted basically just saying as well, there's no space for racism in sport. And I think that also just escalated the clip even more and the story. But again, just going back to what you said as well, Deb, it's sad that it had to come to this footage resurfacing in order for people to start talking about it. Gymnastics Ireland, they said in their previous statement they wanted to keep it as a one-to-one issue. They didn't want to make it known to the public, from what I gather. But yeah, it's not enough. It's not good enough. And the fact that this happened last year, March, and according to them, they basically reached an agreement with the family in August of this year. It's still devastating, because at the end of the day, it's that little girl who, like you said, she was the one who was robbed of that moment, that memory.
Yeah.
And now that it has had to be such a long process of now again revisiting that memory, maybe. Like, I don't know exactly. We won't know like how much her family have shielded her or anything. But from what we've gathered, her mom is very vocal about what happened, how it's impacted her family. She's very hurt by it, clearly. She knows her daughter has been hurt by it as well. And yeah, I think also Simone herself, I mean, she also told Insider in 2021 that she was also someone who's experienced racism in sport as well, especially as an Olympian. I remember I found this quote where she said, she told the Today Show, "I was on a world scene, and what made the news was another gymnast saying that if we painted our skin black, maybe we would all win, because I had beaten her out of the B medal and she got upset." And that was really the news, rather than me winning worlds. Like, again, it's still an issue. It still needs to be discussed. It's still happening all over the world. And yeah, I think...
where do you think, now that the two statements came out, right, from Gymnastics Ireland, where do we go from there?
So I think definitely... actions speak louder than words. Just saying sorry is not enough. Gymnastics Ireland have said that they are relooking measures going forward, their policies, so because they don't want a repeat of this in the future. All good and well. That's great. We'll see if that actually does happen going forward. Only time will tell. But yeah, I think again, like, not shying away from these sort of conversations. We acknowledge that it's good. You need to acknowledge that it happened. Saying that, okay, this is what we're going to do going forward so that it doesn't happen again is good. But it also needs to be seen in practice as well. Those policies also need to be made known as well, I also think, for Gymnastics Ireland, for the community, and even for the public. They should actually come out with their revised policies and whatever, and just say, this is what we've decided to change, this is what we want to do going forward, because we want to do better. Yeah, that's just my opinion.
Exactly. I think the one thing that I'll probably want to make sure comes across is that we're not attacking and all that. I do think it's our responsibility to have this conversation. The more that this conversation keeps happening, the more we keep bringing it up, and not on in a special month, not in October, not in February, just year on year, day by day, whenever it needs to be discussed, let's talk about it. But let's see where the policies go. You know, will they make a difference? I am kind of excited for the future. I think for the girl's sake, I don't want to sound bad, but like, seeing that clip is heartbreaking. I really hope that she doesn't think that moment is what defines her. This is not about you technically. You know what I mean? You didn't deserve it. This is about the woman.
And it's also actually, I mean, even just touching on that, like in the latest statement that Gymnastics Ireland came out with on Monday, they did say, "We are happy to see that the gymnast continues to participate in Gymnastics Ireland events, and we look forward to welcoming her back to our future events also."
Amazing.
It's great that she's still doing that she's not letting that stop her from enjoying her sport and going after it.
Exactly.
It's really great.
No, it's great to see, like, keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hopefully these incidents start to happen like few and far between, to the point where they don't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Will that ever happen? We don't know. But keep going.
Yeah. I think also just touching on that, like I was also thinking, I hope for other sports organizations that this has also maybe been a wake-up call for them. There might not have been an incident that happened within the organization, but are they themselves also thinking, should something like this happen, what are our policies? What are our regulations? What do we have? Should we have to deal with an issue like this going forward? And at the same time, we're also speaking about this off camera, like you need to listen to the person who has gone through an experience like that. Don't come and say, no, that's not racist. That's not true. What happened to you? Don't invalidate that person's experience and that person's feelings.
Not being racist is not enough.
Yeah.
Like, it is literally that easy. I have a question for you. You were talking about your experience there. For anyone that's listening that maybe did go through a personal situation that is similar to yours, how did you overcome that?
I'm not gonna lie, like it wasn't like, I shouldn't even compare it. Like, to me, I sometimes also thought this isn't that bad. There are some people who go through even more racist experiences. So I think that was my initial like view on it. So I was almost telling myself, it's okay, brush yourself, like it's fine, just move on. But it did actually affect me a lot going forward. So like being biracial, growing up in South Africa, which is a beautiful, diverse country. I love my country. I'm very proud to be South African. But yeah, just growing up as a biracial kid, not always knowing like where do I stand in terms of my identity. I'm not classified as white, but also some colored people don't classify me as colored because I have a white father. Like there was always that like dual identity in a sense. So like that, after that incident with that coach, it really started eating me up of like, where do I fit exactly? And then again, like I said, it did affect my performance in my sport going forward. So yeah, just again, bit of background. In South Africa, there's a quota system. So for certain teams, you need to have a certain amount of players of color in order for your team to be entered into like a provincial tournament, for example. So even something as small as they put an asterisk next to the POCs, player of colors names, like seeing that actually was not nice. It's like, did I get into that team based on the color of my skin or based on merit? And yeah, and maybe for the organizations and stuff, they thought we need to do this. But again, for those players who are coming into the team and seeing that, it's almost like, do you really consider how they might feel seeing their names with a little asterisk next to it? Like that marker of like, you are a player of color, you are our player of color, you are a player of... It's like a tick, like you said, tick the box exercise. But again, then I think it just made me work harder. Like, because I remember just like sitting with myself and saying, you know what, I can either choose to think I'm getting these achievements, getting these opportunities based on the color of my skin, or I can just decide, no, I'm just going to be better than that other person. I'm just going to work hard, do my best, play my sport.
Be undeniable.
Yeah. And I think I then just decided to rather go for that route and just really push myself to just do better and prove to myself that I didn't just get certain things because of the color of my skin. I worked my butt off to get that achievement. Like, yeah. And I was proud of myself at the end of the day. Like, looking back, when I got certain goals that I set for myself in sport, I was like, girl, you worked hard. I put in the extra hours after school, whatever, with my brother as my trainer for some stuff. Like, it paid off. Like, yeah. So I would say, just for like advice again, yeah, rather just choose to take that negativity that you can get from a situation and from people's comments and people's words, and really just use that to fuel your fire and just work hard. Because again, if you, I'm a firm believer, if you put your mind to something, you put in that work, you grind hard, you really can achieve it. Belief in yourself can go so much further than just listening to what people have to say about you. They're not you. They're not living your life. You're the one living your life. And you have the power to take control of that. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Mic drop. Boom. But yeah. And with this little girl, she clearly has a force of a family that is fighting her battles, because obviously she is a child.
Yeah.
You know, we can't wait.
Yeah.
Honestly, we can't wait to see who she'll become and the change. I'm excited for change, basically.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Thank you, Jess. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks, Deb.
If I were to go with your phrase, it would be, oh, awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Anyone
That's
that,
nice.
yeah, anyone that watches the Her Sport show or listens to it, which will be linked below, that is Jess's catchphrase. So if you have made it this far and you want to find out more, Jess herself has been regularly updating an article that is on our website, www.hersport.ie. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Share this very important conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you want more of this kind of stuff. We will happily keep creating content for you. Other than that, that's it. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.